Well, they call me the fireman, 'cause that's my name. Travel all over town putting out old flames. I got a couple nicknames in the real estate business, one of which is, can you see that? The Real Estate Jedi. That is me. Hey, that looks like you. My team made me this several years ago. Nicknamed me the Real Estate Jedi. They also call me the Fireman, which isn't great because, as you know, I'm semi-retired, and the only real estate I really do is, a personal deal here and there, friends, family, close friends, and family members. Everything else I give to the team. As my mentor Zig Ziglar told me years ago, you will always get what you want out of life if you help enough people get what they want out of life. So for the real estate agents on my team, I help them produce leads. I'm pretty good at lead generation. So, and the only other time I get involved is when there's a fire. So the last couple of days I've been working on a fire. So much so that last night, there I am, innocently watching the Cubs, trying to enjoy my evening. And I'm dealing with the seller, who my team represents, and the buyer's agent's broker, so AKA her boss. So I woke up this morning, we still didn't have resolution with it. And then I woke up and it was the first thing on my mind. And I kind of have a business and personal rule, which is if I wake up 3 days in a row thinking of you or it and it's negative, then I need to address it and finish that immediately because I'm not going to live this way. Some people like to let problems fester. I like to put the fire out. So went to work again on that first thing this morning. I think we got it all figured out. So they call me the fireman. The other thing I was up to this week, because I haven't been very active on the YouTubes, I had lunch yesterday with my buddy, the developer, and guess what? He has another project he wants me to be involved in, but this one's even way more steep than the last one. So we have an opportunity to get involved with a final phase of a development that he's already involved in as far as the building is concerned. He has built over half of the homes in this development, and there's 220 lots remaining in the final phase, and that developer wants to sell that off. So Jack and I met, discussed it. We're talking about $5 million for the property. So what is the math on that as far as per lot? And it hasn't been developed yet. That 5 million or that 50 million? That's 5 million. So if you divide that by its 220 lots, so that would be $22,727 to begin with, which isn't bad, but it's still essentially raw. The huge advantage, is it's already been platted and approved. So all we would have to do is just go to work, get in the excavators out there to put in the infrastructure, and then we would begin to build on those lots and sell them. Now, they're worth $100K a piece after they've been developed. Okay, so $100K times 220 lots. And this is why these things look interesting is, so now you're at what, 22 million? Yeah, you're at $22 million. Okay, so minus the 5 million that you paid, minus the probably 7 million that it's going to cost for infrastructure. Yeah, it's that much. Make it real nice. You can't get 100 grand for a lot unless it's properly developed. So you're still looking at a $10 million net profit. So I don't know. Of course, when you're in the heat of those discussions and you're having a nice perfectly prepared perch lunch over at one of your favorite restaurants, Dish, you get a little excited. But when I was talking to Sparkle Barbie about it this morning, she looked at me like, are you out of your mind? She goes, that gives me heart palpitations just thinking about it. So I don't know. I'll think about it some more, but it's probably going to be a no. Anyway, that's a lot of rambling to get into what? Let's get into this portfolio. I was listening to some guy's podcast and he was calling a portfolio. I thought that was awesome. He was like Italian or something. Anyways, we're at 1.72. So we're still down about 40, about 46,000 from all-time highs. So we'll keep an eye on that as it goes downtown to Chinatown. But it's coming back. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. AMD $95 puts at about 98% profit. So I was thinking maybe, just maybe, if I can get out of some of these positions today without too many dollar bills, then I'm going to go ahead and do so. Amazon, though, making my butt stink with the 133 put. I think Amazon is oversold right now, not to be confused with over gold. If you know that reference to a movie, then you're probably pretty cool. CRISPR, $47 puts. Even though this is showing I'm in the profit, I'm underwater on those. CRISPR's at what, 45 and change, maybe 46? 45.86. So there's that. Okay. And so $45 put on the CRISPRs. Those are doing okay. Canadian Solar, it's just hanging on for dear life. Data Dog, the Double Dog Dare You $91 calls doing just fine. 405 calls on Deere, unfortunately, at 98% profit. I'd love for those to be taken away at 405, but Deere it took a downturn on me, didn't it, this week? But it's making a little bit of a comeback today. So tomorrow we'll look at that. And if Deere is up again tomorrow, then we'll look to roll that call out and down, probably to $400, and we'll still be in the dollar bills. Enovix, 1350 calls are good, 82%. Merck, 96%. Marvell, 95%. On semiconductor calls, where are we at on that? I haven't looked at on today. I'd love for those to be taken away at $96. Yeah, it's at 95.09, so they're making a little rally. Very nice. Love to see it. Where are we at? Path. The puts are at 96% because Path is just on a warpath today. It's up to what? 1689, up nearly 4% today. Like to see that. So that'll be one that I'll consider closing today. 1650 calls are under pressure and underwater. So we'll run the math to see, do you want to let those go at a profit, or do we want to roll them and try to get some more dollar bills? But as I was saying with my voodoo the other day, if you watch that video, I was hoping for a bounce, and it looks like that's what we're getting. I thought 42.50 was going to be the low. We didn't even reach 42.50 on, and I'm talking about SPX, which basically mimics the S&P 500. That's one of the charts I like to look just to give me an overall feeling of the entire market, whether it's, looking specifically at the Dow or NASDAQ. I think S&P 500 gives you a more clearer picture of the direction of the market at any particular time. So I like to watch SPX in particular because, I don't know, I think it just has more of a minute to minute movement that can be predictive of what the market is going to do. So I was looking at SPX the other day in that video and said we should not see 42.50, and if we do, it should be definitely support there. We didn't reach it. I think we got down though to maybe 42.56, but as we speak right now, we're at 43.08, and I'm hoping if the voodoo magic, if that chart magic is correct, we could see 43.50, even maybe a little higher, 43.80. So 43.50 to 43.80 target. In that meantime, I want to relinquish as many positions at profit as I can to get prepared maybe for that fifth leg down before we then start busting our way back up to 4,800, which is what I predict will be happening. You shouldn't make those types of predictions. This is not financial advice, as you know. It's barely entertainment. So let's continue through here. We've got, so I will consider letting the path go at 1650. Pinterest, where is it at? Apparently it's not getting there. I think it's at 25. Whoa, what do you mean? It's at 26.27. Hello. So I would let Pinterest go at that. That'd be fine with me. Hopefully I'm making sense. I'm looking to reload the dollar bills so that if there is going to be another dip after this fourth leg up out of a 5-wave picture, so this should be the fourth up, and then there should be a 5 down to complete the bigger picture from the July high. then I'll have more dollar bills to buy things at lower prices or to trade them with more volatility and make more premium. So that's the idea there. So that's why I haven't made too many moves at all this week. In fact, the only thing I've done, I've closed out of I closed out my Coca-Cola trade. I just closed something. I can't remember. I'll get back to you on that. We'll get to the spreadsheet at some point. So Palantir calls. I don't think I'll let those go, though. Palantir is probably my favorite company at this very moment, and they've had a great day today. They're off their highs for today, currently at 1580 and the 2. Let me get this charted up better. There it is. Weren't even caught up. Oh wait, they're not off their high. I had the wrong look on the chart here. They're at their high for today. Very good, up over 6.5%. You go, boy. So Palantir, I'll look to roll those calls. I want to maintain possession of those. We will look to I probably won't even close these $14 puts because, with these types of stocks, tomorrow it could be down to $14 again. SoFi 750 calls. We'll see on that. That was just kind of a little money grab trade. I bought 200 shares when it was just under or right at 750. So calls on them, and then we'll see if we want to let those go. The SoFi $8 puts, I would probably take those at this moment because SoFi is 780. So I'm going to let those ride to see if they can just go out into the sunset at full profit. Otherwise, if I take them at 8, I can get some real premium on covered calls, and then they will likely be called away by next Friday because SoFi should be up over $8. Man, you're just making all kinds of predictions. What if I actually got good at this? Wouldn't that be amazing? Which goes to my ultimate formula on freedom, because if I get involved in a development that's going to cost me and a couple of my buddies $5 million, right? Then that automatically puts a large stressful cape and burden over the top of you, which is, I don't know if I need that right now. Whereas trading these, this is autonomy. With those lots, I have to deal with all the construction gentlemen involved in the infrastructure, all the gentlemen involved in the home building, and I'm not even counting the whole building on those numbers I was running for you. And buyers and sellers and real estate agents and all these people. Whereas trading these options, I'm just kind of dealing with myself and my own emotions. And one of the reasons that I've been nicknamed the real estate Jedi and the fireman is because I have very few talents, as you've probably recognized. But one of them is I have the ability to maintain composure during stressful situations. So in real estate, emotions run high because you're dealing with buyer and sellers that they don't do this often, maybe once every 7 years. And emotions run high because you're dealing with typically their biggest asset or their biggest investment that they'll ever make in one fell swoop. And then other agents, it's an easy business to get into, easy to get out of, and everything else in between is optional. So you get a lot of people that they don't have a great deal of experience or a great deal of talent. So I do have the ability to maintain composure during emotional and stressful situations in real estate because, I look at it as a very fundamental. Like in this case that I've worked on the last 3 days, the seller wants to sell and the buyer wants to buy. Hello, let's get out of each other's way and get this done, right? So that's what we've done. And hopefully it will close tomorrow. Keep your fingers crossed. So what else we got? Just blabbing away, aren't you? $20 puts on the Teladoc. I like Teladoc. That whole concept to me is butter. Tesla 235 puts currently looking really good. That gets up over 90%. I'll probably close it out. Tesla 255 calls looking real good, 98%. And what we will do is we'll just keep watching Tesla and how they perform tomorrow, because I would imagine if things go how I believe they will, then Tesla is going to be over 260 by the end of next week. United Health, I'll let those go. Believe it or not, I'll let those go tomorrow at $497.50, even though they're at what? $509. Well, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I am, but I'm also taking a lot of money off. Yes, indeed. Because we bought those for what, $478, and we collected nice premium, and we rolled it to collect even more premium. So I would let those go. What else you got here? And that would be it. That's the final trade expiring this week so far. If something looks interesting in the red, if I really wanted to increase my Pepsi position, which I may do, now would be the time. I mean, it could keep tumbling down when the walls come tumbling, crumbling down. But I do like Pepsi. I think I have 600 shares currently, and they're just sitting on the sidelines because I think by next week, Pepsi should make at least an attempt at a comeback. But when you start seeing some of your biggest positions like Pfizer, Walgreens, Bank of America, Target, and you get the alerts on your phone that they've reached another 52-week low, you better be able to compose yourself. Otherwise, you need to, as my friend Brett Favre told a referee years ago, hey, Ted, you need to take 2 weeks off and then quit. Same with trading. If you can't control your emotions during stressful times, and this is definitely not something you should be doing because this can be very stressful. So we got that going for us. Thanks for tuning in. I was looking at something earlier that, I don't know, I saved it to the end in case you wanted to click off now because this has absolutely nothing to do with stocks or trading. And that is, I sent a bunch of cards away to be graded. I talked to you about grading before. If you watched my baseball card video from a couple of months ago, those were graded cards that I had received back. I sent off 38 cards, all what are considered vintage, which means basically they're old. So for instance, I wanted to show you something here. 1955 Topps Willie Mays. Okay, I paid $423 for this card. And I think it probably has a current raw value of around $500, which is what I told the grading company. But if we then go over to eBay, so I think the grade will be a 4, okay? 4 should be the grade. And if we're getting crazy, it could be as high as a 5. So 4 is likely what it will be. So if we go to eBay and we dial up 1955 Topps Willie Mays, now see, this is a 6, but it's MC. That MC means miscut. If you look here, if you look closely, you'll see where the miscut is. So you see the border, how thick it is at the top and on the left-hand side. And if you go to the back, it shows that it's, what would be considered missed cut. You want those to be as centered as possible. But here's an example of the potential value. So a couple of things in particular. One, someone is just flat out asking $1,100 for a 3.5. Why did I go to that? I don't need to see that. I don't need to see it, but because I don't think it's worth $1,100, a 3.5. But it is pretty fairly centered, which is nice, and that covets a lot of dough. Now, here's a perfect example. So here's a 5, okay? So I've got it hearted, as you can see here, because I'm going to be following this auction until it ends tonight. So it only is showing 480, but I guarantee you that number is going to skyrocket towards the very end of that auction. So so here's a 4. Here's a 4, which is what I think mine will be graded at, and they're asking 750. That's probably a little high, but somebody would probably pay that for a well-centered one, which this one I don't feel is, but the card that I sent off is very well-centered. So I'll show you that when they arrive back. But a better way to look at what are they actually worth is to click on sold items, okay? So if we start looking at, so here's a 4 that went to auction for $655, okay? But it's not well centered. Mine is better centered than this, but if we just used that number, I paid $423 for the card and then $15 to have it graded. And I know because of this type of action, I'm going to get at least $650 for the card. And it isn't about the money, it's about the thrill. It really is. It's about hunting it down, getting a really nicely centered card with great color, all the things that investors and mostly collectors like to get a hold of, and then having them graded, which immediately improves their value because it authenticates the card. Because you could buy fakes at any, any card show or even on eBay if you're not careful. But look at this 6 that just went for 1900. There's one for 1850. So here's a 5. Okay, so because I said I may have the opportunity, it's going to be a 4, or if we cross our fingers and have a great grader that is in a good mood, we're going to get a 5, and then you see how dramatically the value goes up. There's a 940 at a 5. Here's a 1275 at a graded a 5. So we'll keep an eye on that. I just wanted to share some of the fun that I have coming up, because look at all the cards I sent out. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks, Brooks Robinson. And I hate that to even bring this up, because I thought Brooks Robinson was such a great person and an amazing Hall of Fame player, but he just died. So you know what that means? That means those cards go up even more in value. And this is his rookie card, 1957 Brooks Robinson. So that'll be worth some more dollar bills, unfortunately, because of his death. So I may decide to keep that because it's his rookie. It's a fantastic representation of that card. 58 Willie Mays, Pee Wee Reese, Yogi Berra, Harmon Killebrew, Duke Snyder, Whitey Ford, Ernie Banks, Ted Williams. So you saw one day I mentioned how I had sold my 1954 Ted Williams, and then I sent this 1954 Ted Williams in for grading because it just had a crisper photo. And so I'm hoping that I get at least a 4, which is the one I sold, maybe just maybe a 5, and then the value will skyrocket. So that's what I've got going on. Me and my little baseball cards. Hey, now we're up to 1.722. So far we're making our way back towards what we need to be at, which is all-time highs. Probably take a little bit of time, but we'll get there. We'll just keep hitting those highs after we keep hitting these lows. So it's part of the market ups and downs, right? Thanks for checking in. You know what to do. If you're not a subscriber, come on, man. Go ahead and subscribe. I mean, look at this cute. Look at that cutie right there. Subscribe for that guy right there. Like the video, leave a comment, share it with a lovable friend, and I will see you in the next video.